child from their father. I could never do that. That's not right.
What Janet Jackson and James Debarge never told us is finally being exposed. She was America's pop princess. He was part of a famous R&B family.
I remember times when I would find the pills and I would take them and try to flush them down the toilet, and we would be rolling around on the floor fighting for them.
But behind the whirlwind marriage of Janet Jackson and James Debarge was a story kept quiet for decades. One that includes whispers of a secret child, a possible forced adoption, and a painful truth both stars tried to bury.
I remember driving back home to my parents' house. I was just done. I was just incredibly innocent. That's the thing.
In the 1980s, rumors exploded. Had Janet given birth in secret? Was she pressured to surrender her baby? Eyewitnesses claim they saw signs, and the timeline matches up far too well. Now, after years of silence, new voices and hidden details are coming forward. The truth about what really happened is more heartbreaking than anyone imagined.
How could I keep a child from their father? I could never do that. That's not right.
Janet Jackson shared a very personal story about her first marriage. When she was only 18 years old, she married a man named James Debarge. James was also a singer, and he was 21 at the time. Janet talked about this part of her life in a documentary about herself. She said something very sad happened on the night they got married. Right after their wedding, Janet and James went to a hotel in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She thought they would spend their first night together as husband and wife. But something unexpected happened. James told her he would be right back. Janet waited in the hotel room, but he didn't come back for 3 whole hours. She was sitting there all alone, confused and worried. She was just 18, and it was supposed to be a special moment. Instead, she felt abandoned. That night made Janet start thinking that something was wrong. She started to believe that James might be using drugs. At the time, she didn't fully understand what was going on, but his strange behavior made her suspicious. A newly married man usually wants to be with his wife, not leave her sitting alone. This made her feel hurt and unsure about the marriage.
In knowing that you don't know any better and lie to you and...
Janet and James had started dating a few years before their wedding. Janet was just 16 when they met, and James was a little older. Both came from musical families, so they had something in common. They felt close because they understood each other's world. Janet thought James was a kind person. She saw the good in him and hoped their love would grow stronger. In the documentary, James also spoke about their relationship. He said they were young and in love. He joked that he didn't know why Janet trusted him, but he also said he always wanted to be with her. James explained that their love was strong and they tried to block out the rest of the world.
There were a lot of times I was late for work. I didn't care, because what was more important than my work was James. I would wait for James sometimes to pick me up, and I mean wait.
But love alone was not enough, especially when problems like drug use were involved. The singer revealed that she initially saw her marriage as a way to escape from under her father's thumb, saying that she felt as if she couldn't be her own person unless I got married. Jackson described her ex as a sweet guy, but explained that his frequent drug use caused their marriage to fall apart after 1 year. We would be rolling on the floor, fighting for them, and that's not a life for anyone, she said, recalling how she spent nights searching the streets for James and would try to flush his pills down the toilet.
I eventually learned that he was into drugs. There were a lot of nights that I would go searching the streets looking for him.
I sit and I say, "Were you stupid? Were you dumb?" But it wasn't that. I cared so much for him and I saw the good in him as well, and I just wanted that to take precedence as opposed to this ugliness. Because I knew that he needed help, but I wasn't the help that he needed.
A life for anyone. I cared so much for him. And I saw the good in him as well.
I was just incredibly innocent, Jackson adds. That's the thing, is the innocence. And it's just hurtful for someone to see that and just try to take advantage of it. It's still painful.
I remember driving back home to my parents' house. I was just done. I was just incredibly innocent. That's the thing.
But what's more painful for the singer are the rumors that she and Debarge had a daughter that Jackson hid away by having her sister, Rebby, or brother Jackie, raise the child as their own. These were rumors that were just flying around, honey, like hash in a diner. But what was sticking on the wall was, where was the baby? Nobody saw a baby, Alan said in the documentary. She was there with us all day, every day. Where was the baby? The rumors resurfaced in 2016 when Debarge appeared on WETV's Growing Up Hip Hop. The now 58-year-old told his daughter, Christina, that he had a secret daughter with Jackson and was tired of the secrecy. Some people who knew Janet during that time said they saw signs that she was pregnant. These people claimed to have seen changes in her body or the way she looked. They believe this is proof that she was going to have a baby. Even though these people never gave solid proof, their stories made many others believe that the rumor might be true. Stories like these, especially when they come from people close to her, made fans and the media even more curious. For a long time, fans and people close to the Jackson family have talked about this rumor. Many wanted to know the truth. Janet once said her weight gain was because of birth control pills, not pregnancy. In the 1980s, birth control pills often caused bloating, which made some women gain weight or look different. But not everyone believed her. Some people thought she was hiding something. Debbie Allen, who worked with Janet on the show Fame, said the rumor was just gossip. She said Janet was around all the time and nobody ever saw a baby. She said, "Where was the baby?" to show that the rumor didn't make sense to her.
I started taking birth control pills, and back then you could pick up weight taking them, and that's what happened to me.
But the Debarge family told a different story. Bunny Debarge, James's sister, said Janet disappeared from the public for a while when people think she was pregnant. Then she came back and there was no baby. That made them believe she had given birth in secret. Christina Debarge, who is James's daughter, also said she believes she has a secret sister. She said her father James feels hurt by what happened. Christina said James still has love for Janet, but is sad that he lost the chance to be a father to the child they might have had. The rumor became even stronger in 2012 when James wrote a letter from prison. He sent the letter to Dr. Conrad Murray, who was known for treating Michael Jackson. In the letter, James talked about a secret child. He did not show any proof, but he kept saying that the child was real. He believed it until his death in 2023. Even his mother got involved. She took a DNA test with a woman named Tiffany White, who said she was the child of Janet and James. The test said they were not related, but James still believed there had been a baby. He once said, "I know there was a baby," and that shows how strongly he felt. Janet finally spoke about the rumor in her 2018 documentary called Janet. She said, "They were saying I had a child and kept it secret. How could I keep a child from their father? I could never do that." Her voice was shaking and she looked emotional. Some people believed her and felt sorry for her, but others said she never clearly said she didn't have a baby. She focused more on how the rumor hurt her feelings than denying it completely. This made some fans wonder if she was still hiding something. In her documentary, Janet also talked about some of the strange stories that came from the rumor. Some people said her niece Brandy was actually her daughter. Others thought Rebby Jackson's daughter Stacy was really Janet's child because she looked a lot like Janet. Janet tried to laugh these rumors off and said people were just guessing based on looks. But even her jokes could not stop people from asking, why do so many people keep talking about this? Some believe Janet's family may have helped hide the truth. Christina Debarge and others said Janet's family, especially her father Joe Jackson, controlled a lot of her life. Joe was known for being very strict and for trying to protect the family's image. Some think he may have made Janet give up her baby to keep her career clean and free from scandal. And some people believe that Janet Jackson may have lost a baby in the past. There are rumors that she may have had a miscarriage or even a stillbirth. These are very painful things for any woman to go through. If something like this happened to Janet, it could explain why she never showed a baby or talked about having one. Some people think she gave a baby away, but maybe there was no baby to give away. Maybe she lost the baby and kept it private. This kind of personal loss is very hard and may be the reason why things don't add up when people talk about her early life. Janet has never clearly said if she had a baby or not. That's why people keep guessing. If she did have a miscarriage or stillbirth, it would make sense that she stayed quiet. It's a very private and sad thing. Not everyone wants to talk about that kind of pain. It could be the reason why there are so many different stories about her. Some people think she hid a baby, but others believe the baby may have passed away before the world ever knew. This makes the whole story more confusing and emotional. Debarge, the brother of James, also said that there was a baby between Janet and James. He supports what his brother and sister have said. Daryl's words make the story even more serious. If more than one person from the Debarge family says a baby was born, people start to believe it more. But if the baby was lost before or after birth, it could explain why Janet never showed the child. This whole situation is still a mystery. Even though things were hard, Janet said she still cared deeply for James. She believed there was good inside him. She didn't want to give up on him. She thought maybe, if she stayed by his side, she could help him change. But later she realized that she was not the help he needed. She was only hurting herself by staying in a situation like that. His drug use started to affect every part of his life. He could not focus on his music, and he started missing shows and studio sessions. He was not reliable, and people in the music business started to lose trust in him. Even his family and friends found it hard to help him. He would promise to get better, but then fall back into using drugs again. This cycle went on for many years. It made his life very hard and unstable. James was heartbroken after the marriage ended. He said Janet was more than just his wife. She was like a best friend, someone he could talk to and trust. She even felt like a mother figure to him at times because she cared for him deeply. Losing her made him feel very alone. He had already been struggling, and now he had no one close to support him. James was not the only one in his family who had trouble with drugs and the law. The Debarge family had many problems behind the scenes. His brother Tommy, who was part of another music group called Switch, got arrested for selling fake cocaine to an undercover police officer. This was a serious crime, and it hurt his reputation. In 2012, things got worse. James, along with two of his brothers, Mark and Elle, were also arrested. They were caught with drugs. These problems showed how deep the issues ran in the family. Even though they were once a popular music group, drugs and trouble with the law kept pulling them down. Janet moved on with her life and career. Later, Janet Jackson started dating a man named Rene Elizondo Jr. He was not just any man. He was a dancer, a songwriter, and also a director. They met while working together, and over time, they became very close. But at that time, they didn't talk much about their relationship in public. Then, in March 1991, something big happened. Janet and Rene got married. But here's the surprising part. They didn't tell anyone about it. They kept their marriage a secret from the public. Not even many people close to them knew. Janet was very private and didn't want the world to know about her marriage. She didn't want the media to talk about it or make stories that could affect her personal life or career. Years later, the truth came out, but not in a happy way. In the early 2000s, Rene filed for divorce from Janet. That's when people found out they had been married all along. The news was a big shock to many. On top of that, Rene took legal action and filed a lawsuit against Janet. He said he was owed a lot of money. Some reports said he wanted between $10 million and $25 million. That's a lot of money. The reason for the lawsuit was not only the divorce, but also about the money he believed he deserved from their time working together and being married. Even though things got messy, they were able to reach an agreement. They worked things out in court, and both sides finally agreed on a settlement. After her divorce, Janet found love again. From 2002 to 2009, she was in a relationship with Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine was a music producer, rapper, and songwriter. They met through music and started spending time together. They worked on songs and also enjoyed being a couple. People often saw them at music events and parties. They seemed happy and close. But just like before, Janet didn't share many details about their relationship. She liked to keep her love life out of the spotlight. Their relationship lasted for several years, but they eventually broke up.
Why did it end?
Why did it end?
Yeah.
Probably just me being reckless.
I had heard that he was cheating.
Later in life, she met a man named Wissam Almana. He was a businessman from Qatar. They met in 2010 and fell in love. After dating for a couple of years, they quietly got married in 2012. They didn't tell the public right away. It was a private wedding. In 2017, they had a baby boy named Isa. Janet was very happy to be a mother. But not long after the baby was born, Janet shared some sad news. She said that she and her husband had separated. She made a video for her fans where she said, "Yes, I separated from my husband. We are in court now, and the rest is in God's hands."
Janet Jackson's estranged husband Wissam Almana spotted out amid their split.
Janet and Wissam kept their relationship very private. Most people didn't know much about their life together. They didn't even tell the world about their wedding until a year later. Some people close to Janet said she was not happy in the marriage. Wissam wanted a very traditional wife who followed Muslim rules and customs. Janet started to dress differently. She stopped wearing her usual clothes and began dressing more conservatively. Fans noticed the change and started asking questions. Some people said Janet had even changed her religion to Islam while she was with Wissam, but she never said much about it publicly. After their separation, both Janet and Wissam were careful with their words. They didn't speak badly about each other. On his website, Wissam posted a sweet message to Janet. He thanked her for her love and support and said he still loved her. They agreed to work together to raise their son, Isa. But soon after, some problems started. In 2018, Janet asked the police to check on her son. She was worried that Wissam was using drugs around the baby. The police went to the house and checked everything. They said the child was safe and they didn't see any drugs. Some people began to question Janet's claims. Later, more information came out. Janet's brother, Randy, said that Wissam had been verbally abusive to Janet. He said that she was made to feel like a prisoner in her own home. He claimed that Wissam would yell at her and say hurtful things, even while she was pregnant. Randy said no woman, especially a pregnant one, should be treated like that. These reports showed that Janet's marriage was not as perfect as people thought. After all this, Janet focused on her son and her music. She said it was not always easy, but her baby came first. She tried to stay strong and take care of herself and her child. Her life changed a lot, but she kept moving forward. For James Debarge, the story was different. He still struggled with drugs and stayed out of the spotlight. His life could have been very different if he had stayed clean. It is a sad story of someone who had so much talent but could not beat his personal demons. The marriages aren't the only times Janet's life has been of public interest and critique. There's that Super Bowl performance thing that happened. Janet was asked to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. This is one of the biggest live TV events in the world. The show was organized by the National Football League, NFL, and MTV. Millions of people were watching. Janet came out and performed some of her hit songs like All For You, Rhythm Nation, and a part of The Knowledge. Near the end of her performance, she was joined by pop singer Justin Timberlake. They started singing and dancing together on stage. When Justin got to the line in his song Rock Your Body that said, "I'm gonna have you naked by the end of this song," he reached over and pulled at part of Janet's outfit. That's when things went wrong. Her costume was torn, and her right breast was shown on live TV for about half a second. Over 140 million people saw it. This moment shocked many and quickly became a huge story. The media called it Nipplegate. After the show, Janet Jackson apologized to the public. She said it was a mistake and that they didn't plan for her breast to be shown. She explained that Justin Timberlake was only supposed to remove a part of her costume and leave her red lace bra on. But the whole thing went wrong. Janet said, "I am really sorry if I offended anyone. That was truly not my intention." She also made it clear that MTV, CBS, and the NFL did not know anything about what was going to happen. Justin also apologized. He said it was a wardrobe malfunction, which became a phrase people used for accidents with clothes. None of the big companies involved took any blame. They said they didn't know anything about what would happen and did not plan the moment. The government agency called the FCC got involved and fined the companies. They wanted to charge CBS $550,000, but after 8 years of fighting in court, the case was closed and CBS did not have to pay. This controversy hurt Janet's career. She had been picked to play the role of singer and activist Lena Horne in a movie. It was a big role, and the movie was going to be shown on ABC. But after the Super Bowl, that plan was canceled. Lena Horne was said to be upset about what happened, and some say she didn't want Janet to play her anymore. Janet's team said she chose to leave the project on her own. Before the Super Bowl, Janet was being honored at places like Walt Disney World. A statue of Mickey Mouse had been dressed in her famous Rhythm Nation outfit to honor her career. But after the Super Bowl moment, the statue was taken down.